Welcome back to Show and Tell. I'm Billie. This is not the usual location for me to shoot this podcast from, but there's construction down the street from me. There's a bunch of small buildings in between me and the construction site, but they have a bulkhead on the roof framed with highly reflective silver that's blinding me. It's not as bad now as it was an hour ago. I went over there to talk to the construction site manager. Um, and he assured me they're going to be painting it. I have to wait 2 months. Okay, at least there's end in sight. You're going to see the lighting change as this episode goes on, but just wanted to give you a heads up. That's why half of my face is washed out. But you can see my new finished object. Yay! 2.5 years. This is the Tyrolean sweater, or as Linda Ivel calls it, I think Tyrolean. I'm not sure, but I say Tyrolean. Seems like the Americanized way. The label doesn't go on until it is completely finished. Every end is woven in. The pom-poms were made and connected. Um, all this top stitching and double stitching and sewing on all the buttons. I used the pink yarn to put the buttons on so they would be pink and green too. So before I slip into it, I wanted to tell you the saga of this sweater and why it took me so long. Well, first of all, I ran out of yarn. When I was buying the yarn, I bought enough black to do both sleeves, the front of the sweater, excluding all this color work, and the back of the sweater. The pattern didn't call for this. The pattern's a 1940s pattern, but I wanted to put some kind of folk art thing or something, some colored motif on the back. I was thinking to make this look a little more Russian because my ancestry is one quarter Ukrainian. I thought I would put like a nested doll on the back or some kind of a large, pretty flower using all these colors, the pink, the green, the red, and maybe yellow and maybe some royal blue. So I charted it. I made my own chart. I'll try and insert a picture here so you can see what I had in my mind. I think I still have them, although when my idea tanked, I might have deleted all things related to it from off my computer. But anyway, to reiterate, when I was buying the yarn, I didn't buy black to fill in this whole area. So long story short, I ran out of black yarn when I got to the neckline. So I had to decide, do I want to do the neckline in stripes of all the different colors or pick one of the colors? So I decided since I had done this in the pink that I would pick up the pink here. And then I got the idea of doing little pink to sew on the green buttons. The buttons are vintage. They're from my favorite button vendor, my favorite vintage button vendor, Dusty's Vintage Buttons, who I only see twice a year, once at Rhinebeck and once at Vogue Knitting Live. Because this sweater called for a large number of buttons, there's what, two, four, six, eight. A lot of vintage buttons, you're lucky if you can find four or six, but to have eight, and I usually like to have one extra in case something happens and I lose one, or nail polish spills on it. I don't know. I like to have at least one extra just in case. So I had to buy two sets, and I was so lucky that she had two of them because usually she has like a very limited quantity, and they're often just, one set and that's all she's got. I didn't see anything else that was going to work for me. I was hoping to find something that was going to be like very colorful. And actually, I did, I'm pretty sure I still have a picture. I'll put it here. There were some buttons in the UK that I thought might have been just right because they had red and green in them. They look really cute. But when I saw these, I thought, oh, there's enough going on with these flowers that this will probably do it. And I'm like completely thrilled with how it turned out. I did want to show you how much black yarn I have left. This is it. That's all. They sell the yarn. It's Morehouse Farm Merino. Everything is getting washed out here. Let's see if I can, yeah, maybe that helps a little. So Morehouse Farm Merino. There's my pink. I have all this red left, and I have some green left. So I did a really good job of estimating what I was going to need. But again, I hadn't counted on going all black on the back. Okay, in just a moment, I'm going to be back wearing the sweater. Here I am. Let me stand up so you can see the full view. This was a little doodle. The color of the collar, and the pom-poms were not part of this particular pattern, although I have seen other Tyrolean sweaters that had those, and I thought that makes it really like Austrian looking and a little more festive. So I thought that's a cute addition. The original pattern calls for a couple of small flowers next to each large flower in different colors. And I thought, because I'm short person, it might be like a little bit too much. So I opted out of those. Also, it was a lot less work. And since this was taking me 2.5 years, I thought, maybe less is more. The sleeve construction is interesting. So I wanted to mention that to you. Maybe it needs a little shoulder pad in there. I don't know. But the sleeve comes up and then there's a tab that comes up out of it. And you take that tab and you sew it down to this side, and then you sew it down. I need a third hand. You sew it down on this side, and you get that little box shape there. So this kind of, built out shoulder was very popular in the 1940s. And that was one of the features of this pattern that I really liked. Let me get away from my black sofa. I think those are the only changes that I made. I had to adjust for the thickness of my yarn. My gauge was different than the pattern's gauge. So, that's a typical story for me and for most vintage knitters. So I did have to adjust the stitch count, and it worked out this time. The sleeves fit into the arm side perfectly. It just all came together and worked out. I'm only sorry that it took me 2.5 years to put the finishing touches on it. All of this finishing, though, these seams to sew in the arms, the seams down the sleeve, the seams down the side of the jacket, all the top stitching, the little embroidery, the little yellow dot, and these yellows, all of that extra stuff took me 2 full days. Just that. So this was, a little slow going, but it was worth it. I know this winter, this is going to be probably a go-to sweater because it's really cuddly, and uh, I'm always looking for something black and never finding it. I have a hot pink handbag if I need to accessorize it. I was having a little trouble finding the just right earring, I will confess. I opted for these. They're Venetian glass. They're red. There's a little red here. I just didn't have like a red flower or, oh, actually, I do have a red and silver earring. Yeah, maybe I'll think of wearing that. But it probably needs a different kind of an earring. If you have any, send 'em my way. Um, so that's it. At long last. Wait until you see, though, next episode when I bring you the one, the big one, the big kahuna that you've been waiting for. It's this close. Had to get out of the sweater. It's wool and it's 72 degrees out today, so it was a little bit too. So if you're wondering what else I'm working on, well, let me back up and say this project would not have been completed, perhaps, at this juncture of my life if it hadn't been for my Thursday night UFO KAL. I'm meeting with any of you who want to join in on Thursday nights. We bring out old unfinished objects and go back to working on them in an attempt to complete them. So far I've completed the pale blue V-neck tee and this black sweater. I am so close. I wouldn't even say that I have 1% left. I probably just have to bind off the rink or the links because that's such a special project. And I know it's so meaningful to a lot of you. I'm saving that for an entirely different episode. It will get an episode all to itself, but that's almost done. And I have one more besides my current work in progress, which is Rebel, a cardigan by Libby Johnson, made of yarn that I bought when I was in Japan. It's called Rough, and the fiber content is in Japanese. It's 39% cotton, that I know, and then there's a bunch of other synthetic things blended with it. I've shown it before, but if you're a first timer here, there's two strands that are plied together. One is that white cottony stuff, and the other has like all these different colors, pink and coral and purple, um, all randomly distributed. And you can see it's like thick, thin. It's very irregular, but it makes, I think, a really lovely fabric. It almost looks like silk. It does have a shine to it because there's like some silver rolled into that yarn. The light's not really doing this justice, but I'm really happy with it. I'm down to the part, the bottom has a garter stitch border with tiny pockets. Not really, they're functioning, but they're not going to be good for much. Um, and then the cuffs will have the same garter stitch. So I'm getting there. It's entirely possible that this will be done before my last UFO, which is the gray, white, and black sweater. So you have more to look forward to on this channel. Um, but I at least wanted to show you, yes, I'm working on this and it's coming along nicely. Pattern is really well written, no problems. I had to do modifications because my shoulders are narrow and my hips are not. The jury's still out on how it's gonna look. I've tried it on a little bit. It's hard because the bottom is wide. It's like an oversized cardigan with a lot of positive ease. So I don't have a cable that's like long enough to really keep in the sleeves and do the bottom. So I haven't really been able to try it on properly to see how it's going to hang. It's not great. It's not like the one on the model, uh, but it's going to be pretty no matter what, because of the color. Well, speaking of sizes and sizing, someone whose newsletter I receive had a link to a very interesting article, and I'll put the link in the show notes for you too, about how women's sizes have changed and how different manufacturers use different standards. There's no standardized American system that a large must have between a 38 and a 42-inch bust. No. Every manufacturer decides its own sizing. Like Chico's, their sizes are one, two, three. So if you're a size two, it sounds really good because in regular companies, a size two is very slim. So there's like this whole psychology of sizing in America. And this article shows it has, lots of charts showing how over time companies have tweaked their sizing to psych women out into thinking that they're smaller than they actually are, because obesity is a big problem in this country. But all of this for me speaks to why we're so lucky to be able to make our own clothing. We don't have to adhere to any specific size. We can make the shoulders for a small and the hips for a large, or vice versa if we need to. Great thing. At least one of their charts is interactive. You can like hover over it and it will show you like the measurements and so forth. It's a really, really cool um, exploration into sizing. So take a look at that. So in the acquisitions corner, forgive me if I have shown these to you before. I don't think I did. When my friend was clearing out her sister's apartment, I know last time I showed you the beading tool and all the bone crochet hooks and all those little gadgety things, but I don't know if I showed you the buttons. These huge clickety click mother of pearl buttons. I have no project in mind for these, but they're so big and thick and beautiful that I just grabbed them like I had to have those. Be great on a coat. And at the other extreme are these teeny weeny little mother of pearl buttons, like for a doll's dress or a baby. Maybe not functional buttons, but more for decoration. There's a dozen of them. They're just as cute as can be. There's also a mother of pearl belt buckle. I think it's almost the same diameter as this. Yeah, so this could go really nicely if there's a belt with this coat. I do think I might have shown these. I apologize, but let's go through them again. Like abalone and a mother of pearl. These are a different type of buckle. And then lastly, this rhinestone clasp. That's it in the acquisition category. I'm not in the acquiring yarn mode right now because I'm not planning to cast anything on yet for a while. The temptation is always there. I'm going to be visiting my favorite yarn shop in a week just to like drop in and check out what's new, what's going on, and chat with my friend over there, Dan. But this is my experiment in disciplining myself. I wish I could be so disciplined with sweets. I had plenty of birthday cake at the 100th birthday party. Don't think I didn't. But I'm very disciplined about buying yarn. I just draw the line like, no, the temptation is great, but stay the course. Wait until you're ready to cast on your next project, whatever that may be. So I'm being good. I wish I could be good in other areas, is what I'm trying to say. You're welcome to join us on Thursday nights. I will put the link in the show notes. You go to Zoom and you'll join in our conversation, and then it will also be available for viewers to watch on YouTube at the same time, so in real time. And if you're not participating in the call itself, but you still want to interact with us, there is a chat box on YouTube where you can send messages to us or ask questions, and I'll try and take those in real time. So there are only a few of us so far, but I really do welcome you to join us. If you have UFOs that have been on ice for a year, 2 years, in my case, I have something that's 7 years. So those things tend to not get our attention and tend to sometimes not ever get completed. And your money is tied up in the yarn and you've invested time already into it. So just having the support of the other people in the group can give many people the impetus to see something through to completion. Janice has already completed one project, and I now have completed two. So it's worth coming out and joining us, and I hope to be able to meet you. For right now, because there are a few people, it's open to everyone. Come one, come all. It's Thursday evening, 7:30 New York time. So make the adjustment to whatever your time zone is. If you're in Europe, it's going to be probably too late for you unless you're a night owl up at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. But for one of the gals, she's in Australia. The timing just works out perfectly for her because it's like 12 hours difference or something like that. So check it out. Love to meet you. For now, it's open to everybody. If it starts to get really, really popular, I might have to figure out a system for who will be able to participate. But for right now, you could be like one of the founding members. So check it out. Speaking of knit-alongs, I am going to launch another vintage knit-along in the fall. You can find details for that also in the show notes, and I'll put a picture here of the three or I think maybe four color sweater that we're going to knit. By then, by the time I start that, I should have my needles completely cleared of all of my projects, and I'll have a crochet project and a hand sewing project with grandma's old handkerchiefs. Those are the few remaining whips that I have. Actually, the crochet lace blouse isn't technically a whip. Neither of them are really whips. I mean, I have all the ingredients in place to do something, but haven't done anything yet. You may have heard me talk about one or both of those in the distant past, but I'd like to resurrect them. I'd like to have both of those garments. And frankly, my closet is pretty much like maxed out. Um, Winter sweaters are bulky. They take up a lot of room. I've had the idea of maybe revisiting some of my older knits, and there's a few things I'm not so happy with the fit of. Maybe I would pull them back or completely reknit them using the same yarn because I love just about everything that I've ever knit. But some things get a little less love than others, and maybe I could convert them into something that I really, really love. So, uh, that might be coming in 2027. I don't know. I want to get completely up to date with all of my projects so that when you go to my Ravelry page, there won't be anything there that's incomplete. Speaking of my Ravelry page, let me see if I can show it to you. Okay, so if you were to go to my Ravelry page, Billie Toy, you'll see the Rebel Rebel is a work in progress. Gay Stripes for Spring is still a work in progress. About 95% done. I think I've run out of some of the yarns that I need here. I might have to figure out something. That's going to be my next assignment in my UFO KAL. Here are the hankies I mentioned. Here's for the rink or the links, 99% done. The lace crochet blouse from the 1950s. I need an expert crocheter to help me with understanding the instructions of that. And then these are done. The Tyrolean jumper, the V-back tee, the little Scotty sweater, and also since April, the crossover yoke jumper, the raffia boater hat, and summer jumpers are casual. I've done all of those because a lot of them were in progress in tandem, and then some, as I mentioned, languishing. So all of this has been finished just in the last few months. April, May, June, July. In 4 months, I finished a lot of sweaters for me. I mean, I'm always on a size 3 needle. So I just wanted you to see that. See, I told you the lighting would change if we toughed it out long enough. Okay, I have not really sat down to chat with you since before July 4th. So all of the things surrounding July 4th celebration in the United States, I have not yet shared with you. So I'm going to go into a little slideshow of some of the tall ships and the World Cup was in town. I had occasion to go to New York City's, what is it called? I don't know. They have a New York City like souvenir shop in the municipal building downtown where all the courthouses are. And they were giving away these free fans. I picked up a bunch of them. I went to a party. You might remember me showing pictures of this flower, the midnight bloom that opens up for one night and then is dead by morning. So a friend of mine who has this plant, it flowered again. And I'll show you a time lapse video I took this time. The first time I just took stills periodically, but this time I did a time lapse. She had us all back for dinner. A lot of people couldn't see it the first time because you're invited on a moment's notice. Like you don't really know until the day before that tomorrow night the flower's going to open. She's pretty experienced because she's had the plant for years. So she kind of, is able to determine at this point that it's happening tomorrow night. So I went down to this gift shop to get her a very special gift. Let me go and get it to show it to you. Because it was the city of New York, they had this fan, the World Cup soccer ball, which actually this is not the ball that they played with this time around, but this is a generic soccer ball in the shape of an apple because we're the Big Apple, where the world comes to play. And they put a little leaf there to make it into an apple. So yes, we were one of the hosts for the World Cup. And I was in Penn Station, our major train station, just the other day to go to my cousin's 100th birthday party. And I'll put some pictures here of that too. But when we were in the train station, they had these vending machines specifically dedicated to World Cup paraphernalia. I couldn't resist. I had to take a picture of that to share with you.
لا دي المباراه الرابعه على فكره لحمزه عبد الكريم. حمزه لعب في اللقاءات السابقه، لعب امام بلجيكا و14 دقيقه وامام نيوزيلاند، وكذلك ايضا امام ايران لعب في اللقاءات السابقه. ده اللقاء الرابع لحمزه عبد الكريم. محمد
after 8:30 on Saturday evening, July 11th. We're still working, I guess, and inspecting and shoring up the old Pfizer headquarters. The one that was in jeopardy of maybe collapsing. I think all of that is stuff that they have put in the last couple of days to support those floors above it. Somewhere around in here where those steel beams gave way. This is the first boat we're seeing. Yay.
Oh wow, I play Lone White Nurse. I played every game. Really? Yeah. Oh, you play it? Oh, do you like watching it though? I love that. When you have like it's better when your audience, like you're like I know specific, like you wrote it. So. Oh yeah. They released Lone White Nurse 3. Oh, is that Mullen?
Thanks for dropping in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Mwah.